We have all been waiting for this day. The trial between the SEC and Ripple is finally coming to a close. Do you understand what that means? That's correct. All of the leading cryptocurrency gurus are currently discussing a huge spike in XRP's price, and their projections are quite astounding. Some believe that the price of XRP may rise to $11,898. No, this isn't a joke. These are accurate forecasts derived on professional study and market trends. Let's clarify one issue, says a video you won't want to miss. Let's get right to the subject without further ado. Disclaimer. It looks like the protracted legal dispute between the SEC and Ripple Labs may be nearing to a close. And not just with a whine, but with a choice that might change how XRP and digital asset regulation are regulated in the future. Following over 4 years of court battles, both parties have filed a joint petition that indicates a desire to reach a settlement.
Ow.
The motion is more than simply a formality.
Ow.
It is a meticulously planned attempt to settle a lawsuit that has plagued XRP and Ripple since December 2020. The motion's main goal is to eliminate the long-standing ban on institutional sales of XRP, if approved. Ripple would once again have the freedom to interact with institutional partners, opening up a portion of the market that has been closed because of court-imposed restrictions. However, this goes beyond Ripple reselling XRP, restoring confidence in a digital asset that has been marginalized after winning many significant court cases against the SEC's allegations is the goal. Proposed reallocation of pecuniary penalties is also outlined in the proposal. The agreement calls for $50 million to be paid to the SEC and $75 million to be returned to Ripple. This change in the penalty structure is noteworthy not because of the amounts, but rather because it signifies a move away from punishment and toward resolution. The SEC has typically taken a tough line against cryptocurrency companies, so this is a rare moment of pragmatism. Crypto Twitter was immediately ablaze with responses. Bull Run Wonka tweeted about the impending SEC versus Ripple settlement, expressing what many people think is imminent. Attorney Bill Morgan was quoted by Jack the Rippler as saying today, "There was a significant development in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit." Steffing tweeted again, "The case will end any time." SEC's judgment on Ripple is anticipated today. Bill Morgan, a prominent legal expert and XRP advocate, pointed out what might be the most important component of the motion: the desire to change Judge Annalisa Torres's final decision, noting that a victory might unleash large institutional inflows into XRP. This is more than just a formality, according to Morgan. The proposed agreement's legal foundation requires the court to be persuaded that extraordinary circumstances warrant such a change, which is a difficult standard to meet. Unless there's a very good reason, courts usually don't change their final decisions. There's a chance the judge will consider the request to be more for convenience than for need. Furthermore, there is no assurance that this request would be granted, considering that a prior joint application was quickly dismissed earlier this year. However, there is still hope. According to attorney John Dion, who represents more than 75,000 XRP holders, the motion has a 70% chance of being approved. In such case, Ripple would be able to continue its more extensive market operations, and XRP would at last regain its prominence as a real infrastructure layer for institutional finance, rather than only as a speculative asset. Additionally, the clearance would send a strong message to other blockchain initiatives that are under regulatory pressure that clarity and resolution are achievable. If the court rejects the motion, however, it will result in more delays, confusion, and a protracted halt to the institutional use of XRP. This case has been seen as a litmus test for how U.S. regulators interpret securities regulations in relation to cryptocurrency, and the ramifications for the larger market would also be significant. If Ripple wins, it would put the SEC's present enforcement strategies to the test and could change how future cryptocurrency cases are handled. This moment feels crucial for an entire industry that has been longing for transparent, equitable regulation, not just for Ripple or XRP holders. The court's impending ruling may usher in a new era in which innovation won't have to worry about lawsuits at every turn. The crypto industry waits until then. I'm hoping that this legal marathon is finally coming to an end. Naturally, analysts are forecasting explosive growth in anticipation of Ripple's triumph. I promise you that this is larger than anything we have ever seen. Judge Torres's approval of this motion will only result in a legal victory. It will give the go-ahead for institutional funds to pour into XRP. You're going to discover why this might be the most bullish signal in cryptocurrency history. As a result, they tweeted that they were laughing at Noah until it began to rain. Now they're making fun of XRP. Let them. The ark is nearly filled. Something deeper than market cycles is tapped upon by that type of discourse. It's about having faith in a system that has endured despite being frequently criticized, misinterpreted, and disregarded. These prophecies are bursting with emotional fire. Steph stated, XRP is about to explode, just like Bitcoin did. According to Crypto Sensei, if you browse through cryptocurrency Twitter, you'll see post after post with extremely high goals that could result in $10,000 in XRP. Brett pushes it a bit more. Then there is the widely shared tweet from Barry. See? XP2, $2 to $1,000 will happen a lot sooner than people believe. XRP might reach $11,898. It was just a sentence with a few words. But the response it generated tells you everything you need to know about XRP's special position in the market. Some see it as a potential fireball. Others see it as a dream that has been crafted by a group enmeshed in its own echo chamber. XRP AMAC, one user responded, I'm a huge lover of XRP, but how $1,000? They offered a more realistic viewpoint, arguing that if XRP were to reach Bitcoin's market capitalization, it would probably trade closer to $35 rather than $1,000. They came to the conclusion that $1,000 is an unrealistic goal. Dreams still die hard, even though some detractors like Robert Smith contend that these price targets are more myth than arithmetic. The XRP army is renowned for its tenacity. It hasn't even come close to it, he stated, adding, I've been seeing this since XRP came about. There's a countercurrent of defiance that's growing stronger by the day. Let's face it. From the perspective of market capitalization and pure supply, $1,000 worth of XRP would be equivalent to billions of dollars. Levels that, unless we enter a drastically altered economic system, or XRP becomes the foundation of the global financial infrastructure, now seem unattainable. And the most fervent believers are counting on that very thing. Trading for short-term gains is not what they are. They are preparing for a moment when XRP will be utilized in smart contracts, tokenized assets, real-time cryptocurrency settlements, and even central bank infrastructure. Additionally, the door may finally be opened for XRP to be recognized by institutions as a valid tool for international settlement rather than as a legal liability, with the potential relaxation of prohibitions through this joint move. That change might change the demand. For this reason, as Dark Defender stated, phrases like XRP melting faces are more than simply hype. They're expressing an emotion that has been suppressed for far too long. Will the price of XRP reach $100, $10,000, or even $1,000? Realistically, those figures necessitate exceptional situations, paradigm upheavals, and changes in investment behavior in global finance. However, the current euphoria is about more than just pricing. It's about possibilities and validation. Following years of derision, even the doubters may have to concede that the ark isn't just full-it setting sail. If Ripple manages to obtain a last legal victory, let's now discuss the revolutionary collaboration that is causing a stir throughout the XRP ecosystem. We already know that XRP is gaining momentum, but this might be the catalyst that ignites the entire thing. This most recent action has the potential to be historic in addition to being significant. Ripple's recent foray into Asia through its University Blockchain Research Initiative, or UBRI, is a daring and calculated move that could significantly speed up the global adoption of XRP and possibly spark significant price growth. What's happening behind the scenes right now will astound you. It could fundamentally alter the future of Ripple and global finance as we know it. With XRP at its core, Ripple is laying the groundwork for the next generation of blockchain innovation. By investing more than $5 million in blockchain research across 13 institutions in the Asia-Pacific region and more than 60 universities worldwide. Asia, which is home to some of the most technologically advanced and blockchain-friendly nations in the world, including South Korea, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, and Australia, provides Ripple with an unmatched environment to support cutting-edge development. Ripple's goal to fully incorporate XRP technology into real-world applications is highlighted by the recent grant awarded to Taiwan's National Kaohsiung University of Science and Technology for tokenizing physical assets across numerous ecosystems, including the XRP ledger. Asset tokenization is a major game-changer. It increases XRP's usefulness and demand by opening the door for the safe and effective trading of anything from commodities and real estate to art and intellectual property on the blockchain. South Korea, a nation renowned for its tech-savvy populace and strong regulatory environment, Ripple extended its $1.1 million collaboration with a Korean university to advance zero-knowledge proofs and blockchain sharding. These technologies are essential for increasing privacy and scaling blockchain networks, two aspects that are critical for widespread adoption. Because of the participation of prominent experts like Professors Ikra Zhang and Donghoon Lee, XRP is firmly rooted in significant scientific advancements rather than merely riding a wave of enthusiasm. In a similar vein, Ripple's support of decentralized system research at Kyoto University and the University of Tokyo in Japan demonstrates a dedication to addressing the architectural difficulties associated with blockchain networks. Because of Japan's sophisticated financial structure and regulatory approach, XRP-based solutions may soon become commonplace, increasing institutional interest and market activity. With blockchain programs at the National University of Singapore tripling since Ripple's original funding and initiatives like Professor Yang Lu's AI ecosystem on the XRP ledger, Singapore's contribution to this expansion cannot be emphasized. Ripple is using the synergy between blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. Ripple's influence is further extended by Australia's involvement through the Australian National University and Victoria University, particularly in investigating the legal frameworks surrounding decentralized technologies. This goes beyond simply developing digital tokens and involves the development of a smarter, more responsive financial system, in which XRP plays a fundamental role. Legal issues, clarity, and compliance are frequently significant barriers to blockchain adoption. Ripple's proactive strategy of working with academic institutions in this field can hasten regulatory and institutional acceptance. What does all of this indicate about the potential price of XRP? Global adoption holds the key to the solution. Every study initiative, academic collaboration, cooperation essentially plants the seeds for a time when XRP will be a vital instrument. In decentralized finance, asset tokenization, cross-border payments, privacy, and solutions, the demand for XRP to enable transactions and smart contracts on the XP ledger will increase dramatically as these technologies transition from academic theory to practical usage. And without the whales, this story wouldn't be complete. Latest actions support our observations that they are consistently ahead of the game. The price of XRP is preparing for a significant spike. You don't want to miss what comes next, I promise. Therefore, whale movements frequently behave like seismic upheavals in the cryptocurrency realm, causing market ripples. A significant whale. Coinbase recently transferred an astounding 26.89 million XRP from its cold storage to an institutional wallet. This transaction immediately attracted the attention of analysts in the XRP community. There is more to this than a casual token. Shuffle. Since cold wallets are designed to be offline, safe, and long-term storage vaults, the transfer of such a large amount typically indicates a shift in strategy and a clue that those tokens are going to be used. There is something unusual about the destination wallet. It is connected to the infrastructure of Coinbase for institutional customers, hedge funds, market makers, and high-net-worth investors who require liquidity and the ability to trade in huge quantities. This activity implies that institutional demand for XRP may be increasing, which is a strong factor that frequently comes before significant price movements. According to the consensus and mood expressed by cryptocurrency expert Ziv on X, something significant is developing. Why is this important? Markets can literally be moved by the kind of power that whales like Coinbase possess. They typically do this in advance of significant events before releasing tens of millions of XRP into trading or over-the-counter transactions. Such preparedness can constrain liquidity and accelerate price momentum as new buyers enter the market. Whether it be through the announcement of a partnership, the introduction of a new financial product, or just satisfying growing institutional appetite. This change, in my opinion, suggests that institutional players are becoming more optimistic about XRP's future. With the continued regulatory clarity brought about by Ripple's legal settlement and growing adoption, institutions are setting themselves up to profit from what may be an impending bull run. Whales have the resources and awareness to move quickly in contrast to normal investors, and their actions frequently operate as an unofficial but insightful gauge of market sentiment. The price of XRP may react appropriately if this transfer marks the beginning of significant institutional participation. More liquidity in institutional hands translates into larger, more seamless deals with less market disruption, which might attract even more purchasers who believe the asset is emerging. As a significant participant in international finance, the only thing left to ask is what you think about this cycle of institutional participation, which frequently results in increased adoption and ultimately raises the price. Are you optimistic about the XRP Ripple token? What do you think will happen? Please share your thoughts in the comment area. We'll be interested in learning more. And with that, this video comes to an end. We appreciate your time. If you found the content useful and enjoyable, please hit the like button, leave a comment with your questions or views, and most importantly, remember to subscribe.